Xavi's Barca are knocked out of the Copa del Rey courtesy of Valverde's Bilbao, losing 4-2. It wasn't really a bad tactical game from Xavi. Two problems in this game: a lack of effective game management and also concentration and good defending from our players. And in this video, we're going to look at some of the tactics, not everything, because most of it stays usually the same, but we're just going to look at some of the tactics. But as always, guys, before we get into the video, please do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot to get the family to grow. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Let's get into the video. Barca started to kind of have like their back three very early on in the game, which was a problem because Athletic Bilbao was really set on trying to match Barcelona completely, and one of their midfielders actually sat on Gundogan. Barcelona, however, had two ways to counter this. They had Koundé go wide, where Araujo would be the right centre-back, and then Andreas Christensen went slightly into the midfield, which ultimately pushed Gundogan up higher. And therefore, Balde went higher because Frenkie de Jong took up this place like a left-footed centre-back, where they could outnumber Athletic Bilbao. Of course, the other way was to keep Frenkie high and then of course just have Christensen and Araujo splitting high and wide with Iñaki Peña. And this left the fullbacks of Barcelona completely open, and therefore Bilbao started to sit off of FC Barcelona, allowing them to have the ball in these phases. Bilbao didn't come completely high. They allowed Barcelona through the first phase of build-up, where this number 9 would sit in between the centre-backs to prevent these guys from passing to one another. I really like Gundogan and Frenkie de Jong's dynamic because, like I just told you a second ago, Bilbao's number 10 player in a 4-2-3-1 was sitting on Gundogan, and they had all sorts of movements in order for this guy to not pick them up, right? But in particular, Frenkie de Jong, because we all know Ferran Torres was going to play there always, and then Balde was going to keep the width. Frenkie de Jong, especially when the ball was coming from this side, you saw that Frenkie would run into this position right over here, and then Gundogan would become like the single pivot and outlet, right? Frenkie de Jong even went as far as up the halfway line in order to get on the ball to help the likes of Ferran Torres and Alejandro Balde. But as Barcelona went up the pitch, we even saw that Frenkie de Jong became like a third centre-back operating in these areas. Then you would see Ferran Torres also come back to even things out. So Xavi wanted to either have numerical advantage or even numbers out, because with Frenkie over here, they could easily just pull this guy anywhere they would like. Where, for an example, if Araujo received the ball, he could easily go forward and then draw players. Like here you can see there's a 3-on-1. But Barcelona didn't really take advantage of these kind of situations, and they could really have hurt Bilbao a lot with these tactics. That's why I said in the beginning of the video, it's not necessarily the tactics, but the execution of the players in this game. So I don't think Xavi is to blame for this loss at all. Now guys, I just wanted you to take a look at this, right? I don't understand sometimes how Xavi thinks. Now this is definitely a mistake from his side. Why is Frenkie as a third centre back, but at the same time you have Koundé back? Because what you're doing now, you're taking a guy from midfield to play as a centre back, and ultimately you now have two players in the midfield. This is where it comes in, where Ferran had to come into the midfield to even numbers up, right? Because if you think about it, what was Koundé doing anyway there? Because we know Lamine is good in one-on-one situations. Now, when Ferran was running here towards the ball, it was easy for Bilbao to track him. In comparison, where he is over here, These guys cannot go anywhere, and this would give Frankie time and space in this area right over here. Right, so Varane had to come deep, and it was easy for the guys to pick him up because he was so much deeper rather than, like I just told you a second ago, receiving the ball in the area right over here. These are the smaller details, the smallest details, guys. This is not how it was in the previous game against Betis, right? You should have Frankie here with Gundogan and Pedri. Varane stays high, and this draw the double pivot away from him, from Frankie de Jong and Gundogan and Pedri, and then have Koundé back. That's easy, guys. This is the inconsistency in Xavi's tactics, and this went out through the whole game. This is why Barca, if you go look, it's only Lewandowski and Lamine that had positive player ratings for this game. And this is small, such a small like mistake which changes the whole shape of the team, because Frankie de Jong now ultimately was like a third centre back. Why on earth would you do that? Why on, and Koundé is on the pitch, who is a centre back, and now this guy is a full back. So I don't understand that. Honestly, guys, I do not understand that. This is the only mistake that I really noticed from Xavi. Now, I think you guys already know most of the tactics. There's no use in me repeating myself, but there's two things in particular that I would like to discuss, because I think there's a lot of stuff going on at Barcelona at the moment that needs to be addressed. Apart from the tactics and all of that, there's two major problems that I see in this Barcelona side in particular, which of course is the communication problem that we have, because for so many times this season we have seen that Iñaki Peña has been under so much trouble and problems, like errors that he makes that leads to goals. But I blame the likes of Ronald Araujo, who's doing the calling in the games, who's saying keep a ball, who's saying all of these things, who's helping this young man to make sure that he's the best that he can be, who's making the calls. Twice this season, him and Araujo has gone for the same ball that has led to goals. So I want to know who's making the calls there. And Araujo looks like he's disgusted with Iñaki Peña, that he doesn't have confidence in the guy. But I want to know who is making those calls, who's doing the communication in this game, Araujo or Peña, who does it? And then secondly, I want to know from Xavi, you are a manager of Barcelona, you played for the team. Can't you like rally up your team and tell them, guys, we are playing against teams that always wants to prove a point against Barcelona? Why have we conceded? For the third time this season, we've conceded goals within the first minute. And also, Xavi, when teams score, you need to get your team to calm down, because we don't recover from it at all. We do not recover. It's a miracle, and we have to get lucky. When a team in particular maybe has like momentum, you need to slow the game down. If the opponents want to slow the game down, you pick the pace up. That's the kind of things that you as a manager has to do, Xavi. You need to, if we concede a goal, tell the guys, just let's get control of the game first, make them defend a little bit, and then we push forward again to get them and control the game. Always remain in control. Once we're not in control, we stay there for like a long time, not in control of a game, and then teams can just overpower us. But as always, guys, I would like to know, what do you think about all of this? Because for so many times, we just lose control over games, and Xavi wants to play transition football. Let me know down in the comment section, what do you think? As always, do subscribe to the channel. It's going to help us a lot. But thank you very much for watching this video, and let me know what you think. Goodbye.